And we have lots to share today. I'm going to give a report from the Board of Directors meeting that was held in February. And we'll also have a report from the Board of Trustees who met in February. We're going to have two of our governors-elect tell us about their experience at International Assembly just a few weeks ago. And in addition to that great video we just had, we'll have some additional information about the RI conventions coming up in Calgary. So I'll start by saying that our February Board of Directors meeting, not that there wasn't important business done, but there weren't a whole lot of fireworks there. But I will mention that we approved committee assignments for the 2025-26 year, and we have 8 or 9 Rotarians from our 2 zones who were appointed to committees. I don't think all of that is out and public yet, but we do have several fine representatives from our zones who will be on various Rotary Foundation, Rotary International, or in some cases joint committees that report to both boards. So excited about that. We did take a fairly deep dive into the finances of Rotary International. And Larry Lunsford, who will be on a little bit later, he and I both serve on the joint finance committee for Rotary International, Rotary Foundation. I'll focus on the Rotary International side, but my comments really apply to both. There was a detailed look, a 10-year cost analysis, looking at travel costs, staffing costs, other outside consulting, kind of IT and professional fees, to see have we been managing our costs appropriately over the last decade. And I was really pleased to see that we have managed to keep those costs below the rate of inflation for the appropriate items there, and then also using a variety of reference labor statistics that we've been able to manage our labor costs equally well. So that was it was good to see. Something that we all as dues paying members are interested in. Want to be sure that our organization's being not only providing us the great service that we enjoy, but also doing it cost effectively. Also took a look at our year-to-date finances for Rotary International. We are running just a little bit ahead on our dues revenue versus budget, which is great. Our investment revenue is also favorable to budget, and we're doing well against budget for both our operating expenses and our service-related expenses. So you can add all of that up, knowing that we're ahead of schedule on all 4 of those areas, to know that we're doing very well this year versus budget. We obviously still have several months to go this year, but pleased with the work of our staff to control the costs and also for us collectively to have done so well on the revenue side of things. I will share an item that the membership committee, and I'm the liaison to the membership committee, that we reported to the board, and that is about an email campaign. And some of you will be aware that we've had some email that go to new members, but we have a little bit more robust campaign for new members. They get an email from Rotary International on day 1, day 7, so a week into their membership, then day 30, 90, 180, 270, and then an email on day 365, which is their Rotiversary. And each email is just designed to create a touch from the larger organization to provide a little bit of information. It might be about the Rotary Foundation. Sometimes it's about action groups and fellowships, the benefits of membership, just trying to be sure that we're doing outreach, we're getting good touches with those new members, because we know historically that's our biggest at-risk group in terms of retaining them for membership. So really pleased to see that our membership staff are being creative and using technology to be able to help all of us with the holding on to the members that we have, especially the new ones. I'll also mention a new initiative in the membership area. While the North American directors and directors-elect and directors nominee get together once every month to talk specifically about membership. And it just so happened that the date when we typically meet fell during International Assembly. So all of the directors and directors-elect from North America were there, and two of the three directors nominee were there, one because he is the aide to the president, the other because she's currently a trustee, so they were to be there anyway. The only person we didn't have for this in-person meeting was Marshall Butler, my successor, director nominee for 33-34, but I certainly kept him apprised. We had a meeting to discuss expanding some of the work that's going on in zones 33 and 34. Many of you will know Patrick Langano, who's really the father of the Impact Club model and the Companion Club model, and has developed a four-step process to help clubs who want to sponsor new clubs to make that accessible, to make it easier, and to give them a good plan to follow. And he and Chris Jones came to me and came to Brian King, the director of membership for Rotary International, to talk about a proposal to take that across the continent. And so the directors unanimously agreed, along with the elects and nominees in attendance. And then I presented to a joint meeting of the board of directors and the board of trustees this plan that will be to establish a person who is hyper-focused on club creation and using this four-step process in each zone in North America, the 10 zones. And so what this group will be doing is really taking all of the opportunities for new clubs and providing new assistance or providing assistance. We will take our cues from districts, working with the coordinator teams, working with the innovative club teams, and really put a hyper focus on the creation of new clubs, because as a region, North America, frankly, has been the biggest drag on membership worldwide, and we aim to completely reverse that trend. That presentation was very well received by the meeting of the joint boards, which was the day after International Assembly. Lots of good feedback and excitement that we'll be piloting this effort. So we're at a stage now where the team is starting to be assembled, some interviews of potential candidates in each zone, and anticipate being able to report some more to you about this, much more to you about this in April. So just wanted to let you know that was underway. The last thing I'll report to you on is the Rotary International Presidential Peace Conference that took place in Istanbul. I guess that was about 10 days ago. It was a magnificent event. Many of you were there. I see many faces on this call who were there. There were 1,000 people there in support of this peace conference. There was a large banquet that my understanding is there were 400 people on a waiting list who wanted to get into this event. It brought together people from 90 countries. So we had very broad representation. And a lot of this, of course, was, I guess, kind of kicked off by the fact that we have a new peace center in Istanbul that was made possible with a $15.5 million US dollar gift that was facilitated by Marty Hellman, who many of you know from attending our last two zone summits. So those funds have gone to establish this new peace center in the Middle East and to endow the scholarships for the Peace Fellows who will attend there. We had the first cohort of Peace Fellows on site with us. We saw peace examined from so many different aspects and viewpoints, general sessions that were inspiring, breakout sessions that were highly participatory, just a magnificent event. And we even had, for an area that receives almost no snow, it snowed almost continuously while we were there. So it was just a beautiful scene, very peaceful, and so happy that several dozen representatives from zones 33 and 34 were there to represent us and to participate and to bring all that we learned back home. So that's my report. And I'm going to turn the show over now I'm going to give a quicker update on disaster response. I always try to let you all know about that. We have now collected in our disaster response fund $1.41 million. So that's 1,410,000 US. We have been able to support 44 grants so far to support club-led projects. That's $652,000 US that has gone out. And I saw this morning that the group that vets these applications from clubs approved 2 more projects. So I think that's about another $28,000 that'll be going out. And we have, I think, 4 more that are under review for about $70,000 worth. So I know that many of you on this call have areas that are still dealing with disasters. Most recently, we've had extreme flooding in southern West Virginia. Those areas are eligible to apply. We will see how things turn out in the Myrtle Beach area of South Carolina that has had some serious fire issues over the last few days. But we have raised this money to be able to support clubs, to support Rotarians and Rotaractors as they help their communities and nearby communities recover. So please go to our zone's website. There you will see plenty of information, a very easy application for grants of up to $25,000. Again, Rotarian-led, active Rotarian volunteer labor is a requirement, but we're eager to put this money into play and to be able to support your projects. So now I'm going to turn the program over to our dear friend Larry Lunsford. He has been a friend to so many of us personally who are on this call. He's been a great friend and a great partner to our 2 zones for some time. He is, of course, the vice chair of the Rotary Board of Trustees. And Larry, I'm so happy to turn it over to you for your report.
Thank you so much, Patrick, and to this entire team putting on the ZoomFormation calls, and then each of you as participants. Certainly cannot thank you enough on behalf of the Rotary Foundation for all the leadership and the work that you provide in your particular geographies around these great 2 zones. I want to say how much I enjoy being paired with these 2 zones. Working with Jeremy last year and his team, working with Patrick this year. Patrick and I always refer to each other as dear friends. We've been journeying along the Rotary Road for over a decade together, I think, and I do find it interesting that while I think it's outstanding that we have begun pairing directors with trustees and trustees with directors, I think that's been a very good thing. In addition, Patrick mentioned that he and I serving together on the joint finance committees. He and I both liaisons to the membership committee. So I just wanted to mention that the depth of the opportunity that the 2 of us as leaders in these moments, the depth of the opportunities we have to try to move the ball forward in Rotary and the Rotary Foundation is indeed very strong, and I'm very grateful. So I'm happy to be invited today to give you just a brief update out of our most recent February trustees meeting. We met on the Saturday and Sunday just ahead of the International Assembly on February 8th and 9th. That weekend was a mixed weekend for me. It was so enjoyable to pursue the business of the Rotary Foundation. It was wonderful to be welcoming all of your DGEs to the International Assembly. But I have to admit that Sunday night when the Super Bowl was being held, that it was a little challenging for me here in Kansas City, and so I every opportunity for some condolences has been therapeutic for me, and much appreciated. On to the trustees meeting. So we divide our meeting into 4 sections: finance, administration, programs, and stewardship. And so as a As a bean counter, you know me, I think, to be a CPA. I do serve on the finance committee and the investment committee for the Rotary Foundation and provide the financial updates to the trustees. And I'm happy today to provide a similar update to each of you. I think Patrick mentioned that most of the metrics on the RI side of things were looking fairly strong through the 6 months or 7 months, depending upon whether we were looking at December 2024 or January 2025. And similarly, it is true on the Rotary Foundation side of things. Every one of our giving areas are trending favorable to budget through December, with one exception, and that is our disaster response grants funding that happens to be running through the Rotary Foundation. You would have heard in Patrick's report, one of the main reasons that we would be trailing slightly our goal for disaster response, and that's because the United States in general, and your particular part of the world specifically, has unfortunately, at some level, been in this business in a big way, and the monies have been channeled directly to your efforts there in your zones, and also directly to the efforts in Los Angeles regarding those wildfires. So the Rotary support still is strong, or probably stronger than ever, but when it relates to the funding actually running through the Rotary Foundation, that disaster response area is the only area that has a little bit of trending down through December. So excellent to report that, and also excellent to report that our activity on the program side of things with the global grants and the district grants is exceeding the pacing from prior years. I think we're kind of getting back to, my assessment is we're getting back to the levels of that activity prior to the pandemic. And that's been excellent as people have been able to re-engage. So we're trending very strongly with global grants and district grants compared to our budget. So it's good to be able to report that to you. I want to mention to you we received an update on all 4 of the current programs of scale. You'll recall the first was to end malaria in Zambia. The second, to improve maternal and child health in Nigeria. The third, to end cervical cancer in Egypt. And the fourth, to improve sustainable farming in areas in India. Those are the 4 that we have given the $2 million World Fund Award each year for the past 4 years, one of those each year. Each of those programs is really making a big difference. We'll be selecting the next program of scale recipient at our April meeting, and we look forward to that. And the other thing that needs to be a reminder to you, and I want to make 2 points about this quickly, is that first program of scale, and some of you have heard me say it in this way perhaps, the Rotary Foundation trustees created a new idea, programs of scale, to encourage the best of the best global grants around our world, with one grant of $2 million World Fund. That first one, to end malaria in Zambia. Well, that 2 million immediately becomes 6 million, right? Because the Gates Foundation matched the 2 million and World Vision matched the 2 million, from a start of 0 to 6 million right out of the gate. And you be aware, or I want to make sure you're aware, that the Gates Foundation and World Vision both came to us in the last few months and said, we want to invest in this program more. We want to take it to 3 other countries. And so we now have a $30 million effort to end malaria in 4 countries in Africa. And that's the kind of partnership and leveraging and making the most out of great global grants that we want to encourage. And that makes us very proud to be Rotarians. So there's 2 points in that. The project itself was strong. It achieved well in educating and training these community health workers in Zambia to help assist with ending malaria. And then the Gates Foundation and our partners liked what they were seeing, and they came to us as well. So we've responded, and we've got this new element going, a $30 million effort. So that's just outstanding, and something I hope you take great pride in. Let me quickly mention that we took a decision of a small amount of dollars, but it reflects one of the things that we're having to adjust to, right, with the United States element of its aid through USAID, right? So we have at some level partnerships around the world, primarily mostly so in Central Europe with USAID, where we were actually uh, partnering in the funding of certain projects in Central Europe. And so that funding from the USAID side of things stopped. So we took a decision to provide out of our existing global grants budget for this year, the funding necessary for the projects that were already in place or were just waiting on the funding check, right? And so we wanted those projects. We did not want that to stop just because of that decision from a particular group. And so there were about 6 grants. Again, it was more the mindset and the effort to keep that going and to show Rotary can even move forward even with those circumstances. Those were Hearts of Europe grants through USAID, and we found a solution. Patrick has done a great job, and I want to thank each of you that participated in the events in Istanbul. I was not able to attend, and I'm so grateful many of you were. That is now the 7th Peace Center that's been opened, that new one in Istanbul, and I hope that you enjoyed those that had a chance to attend. We are proud to say that at our February trustees meeting, we announced the newest partner for our 8th Peace Center. When I say 7th and 8th, you'd be aware 5 partners, master's degree, 2 partners, certificate program. Now the 3rd one we selected, I'll read you the decision. The trustees selected Symbiosis International University in Pune, India, as host partner for the next Rotary Peace Center. It's a 1-year certificate program, with the first application launched in February of 26, about a year from now, and the initial cohort February of 27, and requested the General Secretary to proceed with the partnership negotiations. So they've been selected as the partner, subject to being able to create the right partnership. Symbiosis International University in Pune, India. The other finalist was University in Korea. So we're excited because many of you heard me talk about the fact that we have a growth plan by 2030 to have 4 of these 1-year certificate programs. This selection of Symbiosis in India would be the 3rd of those 4. The last of those 4 we want in Latin America. And as soon as we can meet the timetables that I just mentioned there to get this next one open in India, we'll be pursuing the funding as well as the partners in the Latin American opportunity. I have one slide to show you, if I can have the programming team, and that is an update. I hope that this gets sent around as it comes out each month. This is the update that the trustees and directors and senior leaders receive every month regarding our 2025 by 2025 campaign. Our endowment at $2.025 billion by June 30, 2025. This was a goal set about 8 years ago by the trustees. And you can see that as of the end of January, so just a month ago, we had achieved the combined total of net assets and the commitments through bequests and wills at 1.927 billion, remainder to goal 98 million. Now, in my world, I don't often use the word just and 98 million in the same sentence, but we are just $98 million away from that goal. And at the end of December, we were 120 million away. So 22 million, it was an average of 20 million a month for that remaining 6 months. We achieved 22 million in increases in net assets and additional commitments. So there's optimism about this goal. We're going to celebrate wherever we are in June in Calgary, and we look forward to that. But this is a tremendous, this will have doubled our endowment over the last 8 years. Doubled our endowment, both in net assets and I believe in commitments. I know that to be true in net assets. So with a little bit of continued help from the investment markets over the next few months and continuing commitments as we build toward the end of this first campaign. We're excited about those opportunities. Let me finish with a mention about polio. Of course, we had a little bit more of a speed bump in 2024, ended up with 99 cases in Pakistan and Afghanistan. I know that you note that we're making progress on the vaccine-derived polio virus. We're making progress, many fewer cases in 24. So two things that I wanted to mention, and then we'll wrap things up. And I appreciate your time. Regarding polio, the first is that at the February meeting, I want to take you behind the curtain just for a second. The February meeting is one of 3 meetings during the trustees' calendar each year where the trustees approve $50 million in Polio Plus grants. So here's how that works, friends. Rotary raises $50 million every year. We did that last year, ending June 30. In October, months later, we approved the $50 million of Polio Plus grants for the $50 million that Rotary raised. Then, in early January every year, the Gates Foundation wire transfers to us $100 million, one wire transfer. And then we go about spending that $50 million in the January, February meeting and $50 million in our April or June meeting. So that's how the rhythm works. And at the February meeting just now, we approved 12 different grants for $50 million. And it's such a great reminder of our partnerships. Each of you talk about, we're partnered with the Gates Foundation, we're partnered with World Health Organization, we're partnered with UNICEF, we're partnered with CDC, we're partnered with the Gavi Vaccine Alliance. That's kind of the collection of partners. But it comes down eventually to us raising the funds, Gates making the match, and the trustees making these grants. And out of that $50 million of grants, in 12 different grants in February, 33 million we are going to send to the World Health Organization and 17 million to UNICEF. Friends, I submit to you that's another very tangible example of how, as Rotarians, we are partnered with all those around the world to actually make all this happen. Finally, music to your ears. We are we have a joint board meeting after the TRF board meeting and the Rotary, and before usually the Rotary International board meeting. We have a morning of a joint meeting where we heard that and took a decision that we are pursuing, and we believe this will happen with not much issue, the next 3-year extension of our partnership with the Gates Foundation for the 2-for-1 match for $100 million. So they're in it for another 3 years. That'll take us from 2026 to 2029. I see some cheers, and I agree with all that. This is an incredible partnership. It's going to launch us to further and further partnerships as the years go by once we do eradicate polio. And I'm pleased that Patrick and I at the joint meeting could hear that update from our International Polio Plus Committee Chair, Mike McGovern. And I'm thrilled that the Gates Foundation is with us in that significant way. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I hope that takes you inside the trustees meeting, and I'm pleased that the business of the Rotary Foundation is going so very well. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Larry, for that awesome update. Always a wealth of information, and thank you for being here. All right, so we are going to transition over to hear from a couple of our governors-elect. So this will be exciting. Leading off from Sunny District 7030, we're going to hear from Soraya Warner-Gustav about her experience at International Assembly. All right, Soraya, take it away.
Thank you so much, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. We're talking about the International Assembly today. And for me, the International Assembly is Rotary at its best. A mini Rotary convention, but better. Because it is just for governors. The fellowship, the camaraderie, the learning, and the recognition that no matter where we are from, we share the same values, objectives, and challenges. My first selected pick depicts how it started. a get-together, football watch party of sorts, hosted by Director Patrick, with President Mario in attendance. And while I'm clueless about American football, the significance of the coming together with all of our classmates, that sense of togetherness and team unity set the stage for an awesome IA experience, particularly given our presidential messaging shared the very next day, Unite for Good. The learning journey was exceptional. And I must comment on the structure and almost flawless organization of the entire learning event. This made for an easy learning environment and allowed us to focus on the topics at hand. The IA learning facilitators were all outstanding in my view, and it became very clear very early that our zone prepares us well. And so I have to admit that I felt very comfortable in all of the sessions. So huge thanks to the zone leadership, of course, led by Director Patrick and our esteemed team of learning facilitators. The inclusion of Rotaracts, our Rotaract partners, was welcomed. And pictured here with me is our very own District 7030 Rotaract representative at IA. I think governors-elect would agree that the Rotaractors brought fresh perspective and good value to our sessions. Truth is, learning happens at every turn during IA. Imagine selecting a random seat at lunchtime only to find yourself seated by Patrick Galvin, who wrote the book, The Trusted Way, who happens to be one of the IA Big Stage presenters, who gives you a free copy of the book, and offers a fantastic hour of discussion about the four-way test and what it means to us as Rotarians. Wonderful learning moments happened at every turn at IA. Our cultural showcase, or cultural explosion, which I prefer, was such an exciting part of the agenda. A sight to behold, really. There, the internationality of Rotary comes alive. The level of participation was stunning, and I'm happy I allowed my home group to convince me to dress in our traditional madras. So here I am with fellow Indian and Argentinian colleagues, our cultures on display. The closing ceremony pic with some of my awesome fellow classmates captures the grandeur of it all. And it was a fantastic closing. But for me, one of the fondest memories from that evening comes with sitting at Giochino Minelli's table, who just happened to be the facilitator who carried the St. Lucian flag during the opening ceremony, and was so excited to share that with me, having learned that I was from St. Lucia. So another wonderful moment, but this one underscoring the type of service provided to us, governors-elect, at all levels during IA. In preparation for the International Assembly, several of my PDGs reached out to wish me well, and the consistent message was to enjoy, have fun, and learn as much as you can. And that I did for sure. Thank you so very much for the opportunity. I now hand over to my fellow classmate, Andy Van Hook, to share his IA experience. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Soraya. It was a great recap, and I will do my best to add my 2 cents to that. It was an amazing experience, and I would like to kick it off with a little video that I put together from my experience. Sean, if you've got that, take it away. just a few highlights from my IA experience in that video. I, could have probably produced a 2-hour documentary on the full experience. Just a little highlight for you guys. It was quite an amazing experience. We were very well taken care of from the time even before we left, from booking travel to everything. And by the time when we got there, everything was well taken care of. The speakers were amazing and quite inspiring. And just like Soraya said, I thought the facilitated sessions for the learning breakouts were really good. Happened to have really good facilitators in each of the ones that I participated in. And I felt coming into it, I was unsure of what to expect. I will say that after the first couple of breakout sessions, I quickly realized that I felt well prepared from the training that I'd received leading up to International Assembly from our trainings at the zone summits and Zoom calls. So I took those opportunities to more hone my goals and things I wanted to accomplish, things I want to accomplish in the coming year. And so really felt that we were very well prepared in that space. It was great. There are a couple of folks that a lot of folks that I met that I didn't know, as one Rotary member typically does, or all Rotary members typically do, I think. It was really neat to have some of the past district governors in my district to try to introduce me or connect me with some district governor-elects who they had a connection with in a different district across the globe. So that was pretty fun as well. And also, probably my favorite thing was creating deeper bonds with my Zone 33 and 34 classmates. I really have enjoyed getting to know them over the past 3 years, and excited for all of them and what they're going to accomplish, and just having more time to spend with them was fun. So it was great. I'm glad I got to do it, and I'm looking forward to the next steps. And with that, I will pass that over to Dawn and Renee. Take it away, ladies.
Yahoo! Here we are to Calgary. Thank you so much. The last two presentations certainly highlight that we are all better when we're together. And so Renee and I both remember IA very, very fondly, and you have another opportunity to be together. So Renee and I have been tag teaming Calgary promotions, and we know many of you are already registered that are on this call today. So we just want to give you some reminders, if you will. The first thing is that we are coming up on the next deadline. At the end of this month, on March 31st, you're going to see in the chart that, Renee, if you can advance for us, that March 31st, anyone who has not paid, you are going to have a rate increase. So while none of us know, except for Rotary International, who has not paid, who has registered, which happens, life circumstances happen, and you haven't been able to go ahead and make those payments to Rotary, you are going to have a rate increase. They will accept registrations all the way till the end. It is certainly going to be a great gathering because this is the largest registration post-COVID for a Rotary International Convention. I just checked the numbers that came in, and we are well over 15,000 people that will be in Calgary from all around the globe. And it's good to note that over 1,200 from zones 33 and 34 are going to be there. So you are going to be able to look around and see so many of your Rotary family that you already know. So we are trying to really set the stage, Renee and I, with making sure that you feel comfortable with your schedule. So we are hosting the third in our webinar series that's going to be Thursday, March 27th. And you will see some familiar faces already who will be presenting. But how amazing is it that our chair of the convention will join us once more, Bryn Stiles. We will also be joined by people there who know Calgary better than anyone. And we're also going to be able to talk to you a little bit more about this amazing gathering that we will have on, that's going to be part of your plans. So if you have not already registered for the gathering, here's what we want to tell you. We're going to let you into a little insight, and then we're going to also be in a Zoom room facilitating questions. The gathering really will sell out. Right now, we have only been promoting it to our Rotary family in Zone 33 and 34. By tomorrow, we are going to open the gates on our social media feeds for Zone 33 and 34 that is heavily followed by lots of zones and lots of our Rotary family from around the world. One of the great things about conventions is being able to drop in these zone level functions. And so we really want zones 33 and 34 family members to be able to join. Now, over 1,200 have registered. We have 850 that we can register. So you see we really need you to go ahead and register if you can. The cost is $75. It is a world-class event. The registration costs have been kept just as low as possible, and we're super excited to talk more about that in our Zoom room. If you have any questions, if you need any slides, if you need any type of graphics as you are promoting Calgary within your pet sessions, just reach out to Renee and I, and we will be more than happy to assist you. And the last slide has our contact information, and we'll see you in the Zoom room. So back to you, Chris.
All right. Thanks so much, Dawn. I appreciate you. And thanks for that awesome update. All right. We're going to get you out to breakouts here in just a couple minutes. But first, we're going to do a lightning round of what's coming up in the month of March. All right. Monday, March 10th. That is going to be our MAP webinar. That's your Membership Action Plan webinar. That is What's Our Problem to Solve? 5:30, Monday, March 10th. All right, our foundation folks, we are meeting March 20th. That is 6 p.m. Eastern time. Next up. All right, I'm looking forward to this one. This is going to be your public image offering for the month. That's wrapping up the month, Tuesday, March 25th, AI Unleashed. That's going to be really good stuff. Next up. All right, and we just heard about it. Still have time to get some good prices on this. Let's get registered for Calgary. And of course, make sure this is on your radar. I happen to know registration is open for our Currents of Creativity. That is going to be our 2025 Zone Summit in Marshall's hometown, Jacksonville, Florida, September 10th through 14th. So go ahead and get registered for that ASAP. All right, we are going to get you out to breakout rooms. Make sure also you stay connected to all of our social channels. You see all our offerings on the screen right now. Quick word on breakouts. We have 4 offerings today. We have meeting with our director, as always. Larry has agreed to stick around for us today, which is great. He can answer all your foundation questions. If you want to hear more about Assembly, Soraya and Andy are hosting a breakout room. And of course, for all your more technical questions and any questions that you have on our international convention, Dawn and Renee will have a breakout room. You do not have to return to this room as soon as breakouts close. Meeting is over. Thanks to y'all for being here, and we'll see you next month.